Do you bleed? You will. Yes, guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again, and I just got back from watching the freaking epic sauce known as Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Yes, a Marvel fan that actually liked a DC movie this year. What are the odds? And I love them so much. Look, I even got a Batman key ring at the theater that I went to. They were selling some merchandise, and I bought this for like $7. It was worth it because it's got the Batman signal. This is the symbol from the animated series and from the movie, the first two Tim Burton movies and so on. And it's the one I grew up with. But I like the new symbol that they put in the movie. This is going to be a spoiler-free review. I'm not going to spoil anything here. I'm going to do a spoiler-filled review on another website on Daily Motion. So that is going to have no holds barred. I'm going to just spoil not everything, but a lot of stuff in the film here. I'm just going to give my quick thoughts, and then I'm gonna do a spoiler filled podcast with my friends sometime this weekend. So, anyway, I had a ball. This movie was exactly what I wanted. It made up for Man of Steel because I did not care for Man of Steel. I thought it was boring. This movie amped up the action. It had a lighter tone. They actually made jokes in the movie, and it wasn't just dreary the whole time. Yeah, and the film looked a lot better than Man of Steel. The action was more fluid, and let's face it, Ben Affleck as Batman, he stole the show. This is what I was talking about. This is the Batman I wanted to see in the big screen for a long time. And screw you, critics. You assholes do not want. You wouldn't know a good movie if it bit you on the ass. Giving this movie a lower than 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Go screw yourselves. You critics don't know what you're talking about. This movie was a lot of fun. Man of Steel was just boring and flashbacks and nothing, and the fight sequences did nothing for me. Here, you get a badass fight, but I'm going to explain that in in the spoiler filled podcast because I don't want to spoil it here. But the fight was well worth the wait. There's a lot of build up, and it's awesome. And Batman, just this is his movie. There's a reason his name is in the title because Affleck steals every scene he's in when he's Bruce Wayne and then when he's Batman. There's like three scenes in the movie that just made me jump out of my seat, and I'm not going to explain it here, but Batman all the way. I was pulling for him to win the day and kick Henry Cavill's ass, and that's exactly what happened. And I foresaw that in the future, and it happened. The other performances, Amy Adams, she was there, she was tolerable, but she's basically there for Superman to save her, just like always. Gal Gadot, she's underused. That's one of the major flaws in the movie. That Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and as Diana Prince is barely in the movie, and she doesn't do much until the very end. So that's not a spoiler. They pretty much showcase that in the trailer. And another problem is Jesse Eisenberg's performance as Lex Luthor Jr. He was horrible. Like every time he's on screen, he's just very jokey and annoying, and he's just over the top, and it doesn't fit with the rest of the movie because I like the regular jokes, but here it was just he's a cartoon the whole time, and I think Bryan Cranston would have been a better choice for not Lex Luthor Jr., just the real Lex Luthor, because he's a joke. Basically, that's probably why the critics were shitting on this movie. But the action, when it's there, it's well done. The locations, they go to a lot of different locations, but like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything. And the film, it's long, but they didn't do too much like I thought they were going to do in the trailer. Like Wonder Woman kind of felt forced in there so that they could have their Justice League moment at the end against Doomsday, which is it was in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. And yes, I thought Doomsday looked awesome. The CGI looks very well done. It didn't look like a Ninja Turtle. It was, the budget was on the screen. Like what you get in the movie, what you see is what you get. The theater was packed. I had a great time. I was jumping out of my seat every time Batman did something. He's a badass in this movie. I don't care what anybody says. I thought he was better than Bale was in Nolan's trilogy, and that's saying a lot. I have the balls to say that because he does more. There's more Batman in this movie than any in Nolan's trilogy, and his voice is more tolerable than "Where is he? I'm Batman." In Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. It's a lot better here, and the robot suit that he has in like it's in the second half of the film, and his regular suit, the suit that he's in the desert. I'm not going to spoil anything. That scene is awesome. You get to see him. He's a badass. This is the Batman from the comics that we wanted. People that had a problem with Ben Affleck saying that he was going to be a horrible Batman and they petitioned to have him thrown out. No, That was not going to happen, and he owned it. He freaking killed every scene he was in. And I know I sound like a fanboy. I don't care. This is my review, spoiler-free review. I love this movie. It's going to be in my top 5 of the year. It's not going to be Deadpool. That was still my favorite movie of the year, bar none, because that was bloody and R-rated, and it did everything right. But this movie is not the atrocity that critics are making it out to be. That people were they were expecting something like, like in the comics all the way, and the critics are like, oh, I want a movie that speaks to me. No, I don't need that. I want a fun movie, and this was a lot of fun. Everything that they tried, it worked. DC finally made a good movie after so many years of failures, or when they tried to reboot Superman and Batman twice. Well, they did it for Batman once, and then Superman twice. And Man of Steel, I thought was boring. It was just nonsensical and just actionless. But this had the action. This pushed the envelope. I am ready for the Justice League after seeing this, because it wasn't perfect, but it did a lot of things right. And I'm not gonna care what anybody says in any podcasts or any reviews that are shit on this movie all the way, because I'm like, what did you expect? Were you expecting the Nolan's Dark Knight? I think it's right up there with the rest of Nolan's films, because it's shorter than The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, and it has more action, and it's not a crime drama. It's a action film. It has a lot of moments of talking, which is not a spoiler, but it does things right. And I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I got to see it in a packed theater. I got to wear my mask through most of it. People liked it. I got to take pictures at the theater. The energy was in the air, and I got to see the movie in the right atmosphere. Because with Deadpool, I had to deal with crying babies, and that was annoying. But here, I got the movie that I wanted, and it wasn't perfect, like I said before, because Jesse Eisenberg's performance sucked. Gal Gadot was underused, and there were some repetitive things in it. But other than that, it's not a horrible movie. Don't listen to what critics say. I'm gonna label this Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. The critics are wrong. I'm gonna put that, because I'm man enough to admit that I enjoyed the movie, because it was a major step up from Man of Steel. It didn't bore me to tears. It lightened the mood a little bit more. It had some badass action. You had some top notch performances from freaking Ben Affleck, and even people like Holly Hunter, and even Lawrence Fishburne was pretty decent in the film. He had more to do than in Man of Steel. And just overall, it was an enjoyable experience. It wasn't the disaster that I thought it could have been. But I still got Civil War to worry about. I hope that's good, because this was a major step up, and Marvel has been killing it every year. But for DC to make their first ensemble film in a while, they succeeded. And I know the movie's going to make a ton of money, so you critics are not going to bring that movie to fail. This isn't like Fan Four Stick, where there's no action until the very end and it sucks. This has action throughout, and it doesn't suck. And the things in this movie, there's a lot of things that surprise me, but I'm going to get to that in my spoiler filled podcast video. So stay tuned for that on Daily Motion, because I'm going to probably use copyrighted music, and I don't want to get a copyright strike. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, liking my video. I hope you watch this. Go see the movie. You're not going to regret it. Believe me. If you're expecting Nolan's almost 3 hour Dark Knight Rises, no, this is much better. It is. Screw what the critics say. They don't have an ounce of fun in their freaking white collar freaking uh suit wearing freaking douche nozzle minds. They don't know how to have fun. They just want movies to speak to them. But anyway, I enjoyed the movie. It's one of the best of the year. I'm glad it's making money. I'm glad I saw it in the theater, and I will stay tuned for my next review. Later, guys.